Fact 1. Brazil has won more World Cups than anyone. Brazil is the most successful national team in football history. They've won 5 FIFA World Cups in 1958, 1962, 1970, 1994, and 2002, more than any other country. And somehow, Brazil is also the only nation to qualify for every single World Cup ever held. That means no matter the generation, no matter the era, Brazil always finds a way to stay among football's elite. Fact 2. Brazil's famous yellow jersey wasn't always yellow. That iconic yellow jersey everyone instantly recognizes? Yeah, it wasn't always like that. Brazil originally played in white kits. Simple, plain, nothing special. But after the heartbreaking 1950 World Cup loss to Uruguay, a defeat so painful it's still remembered as one of football's biggest shocks, the national team decided something had to change. The white kit became associated with bad luck and disappointment. So Brazil actually held a national competition to redesign the jersey. And the result? The famous yellow shirt with green trim, the one we instantly associate with legends like Pelé, Ronaldo and Neymar. Fact 3. The 1950 World Cup shock that broke Brazil. This is one of the most painful moments in football history. In the 1950 World Cup, Brazil hosted the tournament and reached the final match against Uruguay at the Maracanã Stadium. And everything looked perfect. Around 200,000 fans filled the stadium. The country was already celebrating. Newspapers were preparing victory headlines. People genuinely believed Brazil had already won the World Cup. All Brazil needed was a draw. But Uruguay had other plans. They scored in the second half, and suddenly the atmosphere changed completely. Then came the second goal, and what followed wasn't just silence, it was emotional collapse. Imagine 200,000 people going from celebration to complete disbelief in minutes. Brazil didn't just lose a match that day. They lost a World Cup they thought they had already won. And the moment became so iconic it even got a name. The Maracanazo. To this day, it's still considered one of the most shocking defeats in football history and one of the moments that shaped Brazilian football forever. Fact 4. Pelé became a legend at just 17. If there's one name that defines Brazilian football, it's Pelé. And what he did in the World Cup sounds almost unreal. In 1958, a 17-year-old Pelé was called up to represent Brazil at the World Cup in Sweden. Most players at that age are just trying to break into professional football. Pelé? He was about to take over the entire tournament. He scored a hat-trick in the semi-final, then 2 goals in the final, and helped Brazil win their first ever World Cup. At 17 years old. That makes him the youngest player ever to win a World Cup final, and one of the most important reasons Brazil became a global football powerhouse in the first place. From that moment on, Pelé wasn't just a young talent anymore. He became O Rei, the king of football. Fact 5. Brazil changed how football is played. Brazil didn't just win football matches, they changed the style of the game itself. They popularized joga bonito, meaning play beautifully. Instead of only focusing on tactics and defending, Brazil made football about creativity, flair, dribbling, and expression. Fact 6. Ronaldinho made football look unreal. If there was ever a player who turned football into entertainment, it was Ronaldinho. He didn't just play matches, he performed in them. No-look passes, elasticos, nutmegs, impossible dribbles, and somehow he always had a smile on his face while doing it. At his peak, he wasn't just beating defenders, he was embarrassing entire teams with pure creativity. One of the craziest moments of his career came when even rival fans stood up and applauded him at the Santiago Bernabeu after he destroyed Real Madrid. That almost never happens in football. Ronaldinho wasn't just a Brazilian legend, he was proof that football can be pure joy, even at the highest level. Fact 7. Ronaldo completed one of football's greatest comebacks. Before the 1998 World Cup final, Brazilian superstar Ronaldo suffered a terrifying medical emergency that shocked the football world. Brazil went on to lose the final, and Ronaldo looked completely broken afterward. But 4 years later, he came back stronger than ever. At the 2002 World Cup, Ronaldo scored 8 goals, carried Brazil through the tournament, and scored twice in the final against Germany. From heartbreak to becoming a world champion. It's still one of the greatest comeback stories in football history. Fact 8. Brazil produced more football legends than any country. Some countries struggle to produce one football icon. Brazil somehow keeps producing them over and over again. Pelé, Zico, Romario, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Kaká, Neymar. That's an unbelievable amount of football greatness from one country. And the craziest part? Each generation had its own superstar that inspired the next one. Brazil's football history basically feels like an endless timeline of legends. Fact 9. Brazil's 2002 attack was absolutely terrifying. The 2002 Brazil team had one of the most dangerous attacks football has ever seen. Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho. Trying to stop all three at the same time was basically impossible. Ronaldo was scoring goals for fun, Rivaldo could create magic out of nowhere, and Ronaldinho played like he was inventing football tricks mid-game. That team went unbeaten through the tournament and won the World Cup in style. Honestly, for defenders back then, facing Brazil probably felt like a nightmare. Fact 10. Neymar broke one of Brazil's biggest records. For decades, people believed Pelé's goal record for Brazil would never be touched. Then Neymar came along. With his goals, creativity and consistency, Neymar eventually became Brazil's all-time top scorer, passing one of the most legendary records in football history. And whether people debate eras or not, breaking a Pelé record is something almost no player could even dream of doing. Fact 11. Brazil's 1970 team is called the greatest ever. A lot of football fans believe the 1970 Brazil squad was the greatest national team ever assembled. And honestly, it's hard to argue against it. With players like Pelé, Jairzinho, and Carlos Alberto, Brazil played football that looked way ahead of its time. The passing was smooth, the attacks were non-stop, and every goal looked beautiful. Their iconic goal in the World Cup final against Italy is still considered one of the greatest team goals ever scored. Fact 12. Brazil turned football into a national obsession. In Brazil, football isn't just a sport, it's part of the country's identity. During major tournaments, streets get painted in yellow and green, families gather around TVs, and entire cities stop to watch matches. For many Brazilians, football is connected to pride, culture, and emotion. That's one reason Brazil's atmosphere during big games feels completely different from almost anywhere else in the world. Fact 13. The 7-1 loss to Germany shocked the entire world. In 2014, Brazil hosted the World Cup with millions expecting them to lift the trophy at home. Instead, football witnessed one of the most unbelievable matches ever. In the semi-final against Germany, Brazil completely collapsed. Germany scored 4 goals in just 6 minutes, and by half-time, the score was already 5-0. Fans inside the stadium were crying, shocked, and completely speechless. The final score ended 7-1, and to this day, it's still considered one of the most shocking defeats in sports history.